without a doubt, Haley has my vote. She played an amazing game, and it is very hard to make it through this entire game without having any sort of an alliance and rarely having the finger pointed in your direction. She held her own in the challenges, and I think she continuously proved herself throughout the game, strategically, physically, and socially. So,
Kind of torn between two people, but I think I'm putting Haley down. I think she played a really strong game, and she was very loyal and made some good moves at the end of her game. Wow, Jen. The one person I know I'm not voting for is Pat. Obvious reasons why. And honestly, going into that, I thought I was going to vote Haley. And I don't take it personally when, well, I did a little bit to heart when the social questions asked, and for one person she said Tasha. There might be some recency bias in that in the last day of the game, so I respect that answer. The issue that I have is the question particularly where I asked if the final three could have been, if any of you had won the final four challenge, aside from Pat, would the final three look any different? And frankly, I think all of them missed the mark on the answer. I think that picking Tasha is what Haley said, and I think that that's just a very, very poor strategic move. You're giving the game away to Tasha at that point. And then Sarah, I think her answer arguably might have been even worse by flip-flopping. I think that when the jury reacted a certain way, she then told us what she wanted to hear, or what she thought we wanted to hear, and that I think is problematic as well. So honestly, I'm really struggling. I really wish one of them drove it home, and I feel like Haley and Sarah had good answers to a lot of questions, and I think that maybe I'm wrong, but I think it could be either of them at this point. I'm going to go with Haley. We did work together in this game. I wish more could have came of the idol. But I'm voting for her. I wish, though, that said, that one question, if she didn't say Tasha, it would have been easy for me. Not the question about who she would work, who was her biggest social ally, but the question of who would she have gotten out, or had she won the immunity? And she said Pat rather than keeping Tasha. That's social call. But anyway, I hope it's either Sarah or Haley, because I don't respect the game played.
All right, my last vote for Survivor Brantford Season 9, and it's for a winner. I wish it was me, but all right, so the three finalists, congrats on making the final three. I was going into this thinking about voting for Haley, and I was also considering Pat. I feel like Haley gave a lot of great answers about her strategic and social gameplay in terms of the moves that she eventually made closer to the end, such as like taking out Dennis. And I know she maybe wasn't the one who specifically convinced Dennis to vote with them, but Dennis ended up voting against his triangle, and Haley was on the right side of that, so I think that also speaks to her good gameplay. But her answer about wanting to take Tasha to the end definitely concerned me. If she did end up doing that, if Pat didn't win immunity, she would not be getting my vote. But even though she was thinking strategically and correctly there, she didn't make that move because Pat didn't win immunity. So I have to base it off of the moves that she did make in the game. She made a lot of strategic moves. They all played great. Pat played great too. But I'm gonna have to vote for Haley to be the winner. I went in thinking I was gonna vote for Haley. Other than that one answer, She impressed me with her answers, so congratulations, and I hope you end up winning. And great game, Sarah, too.
Well, I'm a lot less sweaty than the last time I was at this table. I'm a lot more happy since the last time I was at this table. Obviously, if my name could have been on the parchments tonight, I'd be happiest. But ultimately, 11 people out of the 14 couldn't do it, so the odds wouldn't be in my favor no matter what. It was a tough battle in there. Very much 50-50 going into it, and honestly, I didn't make up my mind until like the last minute or two when I had to come out here. Ultimately, what I thought about was how, so Sarah had a nice plan where she had her 3, and Haley seemed to walk kind of more of a tightrope strategically. So in my mind, it was between those two. Pat, I'll summarize it by saying I'm not a fan of the antics he's had this season, and I don't want to support that by giving him a vote to win today. So between Sarah and Haley, there was one specific question that really ended up driving my vote, and it was the question about Tasha and what they would have done if Pat did not win and Tasha did not win. And Haley said she would have kept Tasha into the final 3, and Sarah initially said no, but or initially said yes, but then corrected herself down the road and said upon revision she probably would have advocated for Tasha to go out. In my opinion, that would have been the smartest decision. And so that is why I'm giving Sarah my vote. Congratulations, and I hope you bring it home.
It was an interesting final tribal council. I went into it with an open mind. I think a lot of people probably expect me to just pick Sarah due to the loyalty we have with each other, but I did go in with an open mind, trying to pick the best survivor. My immediate thoughts are that Pat, I didn't love his game style. I think the fake idols was a bit of a, what's the right word here? A bit of a slimy move. Although legal, it did seem kind of like a little wishy-washy. And then I feel like even though he won the final challenge, the most important one, the rest of his game was pretty weak, respectfully. Sarah, big fan of her, happy that I got to work with her. I enjoyed hearing that she was using Dennis and I as shields. Initially, I kind of felt she was just blindly following along, which isn't a super strong game plan. So I didn't think I'd have as much respect for her gameplay as I do, although I do think she did well. Overall, though, I think Haley had the strongest game. I think that her strategy. Oh, sorry. I should probably let me get it more dramatic. Haley is someone who surprised me because during the game I didn't see her as a strong competitor at all. It turns out she had the immunity idol that she was sitting on the whole time. It also turns out that she was playing the perfect sort of chameleon and working along with other groups pretty well. I thought she was just kind of being like blown by whatever group she would be absorbed by, and I thought she was kind of pretty easy to control. But towards the end of the game, she was in the driver's seat. She had a clear vision of who she wanted in the final 3, and she made some crucial votes. So I think Haley should be the winner of Survivor Brantford 9. Congratulations. Cool. Thanks.
Ooh, okay. So this one's a little bit tougher than I was thinking. I honestly think, like, challenge-wise, Pat was probably the best out of all of them. Haley and Sarah both played kind of a quiet game, while Pat played much more bold moves. But he probably was my strongest ally out of all those people throughout the game too, but I really don't like the fake idol. I just don't like the fake idol. I don't think he played it correctly, and it was through a stroke of luck that it kind of fell in his favor. So I really, I think I can't go with that. Yeah, so that being said, Haley, I think you did it this year.
All right, congrats, Final Three. You all played amazing games and absolutely deserve to be there. So super excited for you all. The person I'm voting for, I feel like by the end of the game that I was trying to play was trying to make some big moves and voting out Brandon and orchestrating the Dennis vote. And the person I'm voting for is someone who is willing to make a big move and put themselves out on the line. So Haley, you have my vote. Sarah, thanks for being a great ally and bringing me into the square or the quadrangle and being great to play with. And Pat, congratulations, especially on that Final Four.
The decision for me is pretty easy. After the final 5 vote, I knew if Tasha wasn't there, I'd probably be voting for this person. So, I don't like the way I say that. Anyways, at my vote out, I said the one thing I wanted to see the returning players do is make a move, and this player made the move, so I'll be voting for them. Come on. You made the move. You almost played a 0 votes game. You deserve it. I'm proud to have writing your name down. I hope you win. This thing's full. All right, that's it. I'm done.
So this is the least decided I've been at this point by far in any season. Most seasons I feel like I have a relatively good idea coming into Final Tribal. I didn't have a great idea. There were answers that kind of swayed me one direction, but then I'd say with one answer in particular, got pushed to go another direction. So, interestingly, Pat and Sarah both were very close to me throughout the game. I think in some ways Haley played a better strategic game. In some ways, I feel like also she didn't have as many connections, so I feel like there's luck involved with everyone, but I think she maybe wasn't as intentional as I would have suggested about having more firm connections. But with the question about whether if Pat had not won immunity, whether it would have been that same Final Three or Tasha, and Haley, to my understanding, essentially came out and said she would take Tasha knowing that she would lose, and at that moment it flipped to I was at that moment voting for Haley, to which point that really kind of turned me off from that, when there's not that, when kind of that mindset of I'm willing to let someone else win that I 90% plus know will win. So based on that, I feel like Sarah played a very loyal game to me. I feel like I feel like Pat was very kind of following along, made some, I would say, very questionable decisions about in the pre-merge game about team meeting and how he tried to use his fake idol and everything, that I don't think his is a winning game. But I'm still conflicted between Sarah and Haley, but I just have to say that one answer is really sticking with me in terms of it made it sound to me like
Haley would have knowingly sacrificed her game at the end for someone else, and that's hard for me to swallow in a winner. So this is also a positive vote for you, Sarah. Like, I think you did really well without kind of experience playing with most of these other people on the returnee tribe, where most of them were recent returnees. For you to get in with them and navigate the game and make it to the end, and maybe it's a bit of a apology vote too for me, almost kind of blowing up our game with blowing up the triangle. So hope you win. Good luck, Sarah, and good luck to all.
Well, Jim, here we are from the first vote of the season to the last one. It's a long weekend. Wow. Coming into Final Tribal, I wanted to keep an open mind, and I think I did a pretty good job doing so. I feel like they've all had their moments in the sun during their speeches, but they've all had really bad answers at the same time. And that, for the longest time during the Final Tribal Council itself, I didn't know who to vote for. I really didn't, and it all came down to Steven's very last question. The very last question that kind of sealed things for me, and I'll explain it after I make sure I spell this right. Steven asked who was the most important person in this game, and Haley answered that it was Tasha. And that was something I needed. I needed Haley to say somebody else besides Michelle, because when I asked something about that, all she said was Michelle, and I needed more. So to know that Haley didn't just get this far by one person or one alliance member is really good. Knowing that she had people to work with throughout this entire game was amazing. And the fact that she didn't need to win immunity challenges like she did last time, the fact that she used these relationships to pull off a blindside against Dennis is really probably the feather in the cap in Haley's game, and I proudly cast this vote for her. What a ride.